slides
let me just,
sorted.
I'll switch this over here. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a recording.
All right, thanks, Robert. Okay, well, thanks everyone for hanging in there. Welcome to our webinar Wednesday. My name is Kirstine Stephen. I'm an Assistive Technology and Additional Support Needs teacher at Call Scotland. Delighted to be joined today by Dr Benjaman Schogler from Playable Technology. Afternoon, Ben. It's really good to have you with us today, and even if it was a wee bit of a stressful start there. So Ben is the Creative Director at Playable Technology. He is a developmental psychologist, and he is an expert in educational technology, learning and play. And today he's going to be sharing with us an exciting app called Beat Blocks, which enables you to create music using Lego bricks. I've tested it out with a couple of learners, and it truly is a really creative play experience. So today's session is being recorded thanks to my colleague Robert. He's in the background keeping an eye on everything technical for us. The recording link will follow today's session. If you don't want to be in the recording, please make sure your camera remains switched off, and if I could ask please that you keep your mics muted throughout the presentation today. Please do pop any questions into the chat pane. I'll be keeping an eye on that, and we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. So the webinar is going to run for about 20 minutes, and then we'll have time for questions. So I'll hand over to Ben. Thanks, Ben.
Hi, thanks for the introduction. Apologies for the slightly ropey start. Technically, supposedly I'm an expert in play technology, and I can't even get Teams to work. But there you go. So yes, I'm wanting to introduce you to our Playable Technology. We're the original team behind Skoog, which was a musical instrument designed for young people with disabilities or additional support needs, and our whole ethos and reason for being is to try and enable creativity with technology, and our particular focus on music. So we've done that in a variety of ways over the years. There's a team of us. It's not just me, although I'm quite happy to take the credit and get all of the accolades. What I want to share with you today is something that's been in the mix for quite a while and really came to being through COVID. So during COVID, we were a company that was at that stage helping to make products that went in boxes and went on shelves in shops. And obviously, when all the shops shut, we're like, well, what can we do now? And my business partner and co-founder, David Sklina, he had the genius idea of looking at something that we'd done for years with young people with autism, to the fact, well, we actually developed a Lego music course with some specialists in Australia, where we'd been using these colorful little bricks as a tactile means of composition. So using these in various colors, and then either by using a color-coded interface or instrument, enabling students to compose a pattern using color and then play that with a device. And David thought, what if we can make the Lego actually be the music? And so he set to work with some computer vision and some training, and last year we launched the first version of the app, which is now which was a personal version, but now we have an education version available. So it doesn't have any in-app purchases. It comes fully bundled, kind of ready to deploy across devices. It works. It's just iOS at the moment, although we are looking at Chrome and Android. It does work on iPads, but I'm going to show it to you on the iPhone because of all of the faff that you just witnessed with me trying to get the iPad to share the sound for some reason. So I'll just get straight on and do it. So this is the app here, as you can see in the screen share. I've got some bits and pieces on that side, but what it does is it uses the camera. So you can see if I put my hand in front here of the phone. I've got the phone just set up using a little stand that it has. I lovingly built a little Lego stand for my iPad, which is a nice little, it's an additional sort of exercise you can do with students. It will also work with a sort of stand or a mount like this kind of thing that you can see here on the desk. So I've got my phone set up. It's looking at a Lego base plate. It doesn't you don't have to have a Lego base plate for it to work. It just kind of makes it easier to kind of place the bricks, and it also provides a bit of context for learners. Often, you know, when you see the bricks and you see a square building plate, your go-to there initially is to place the bricks on the plate. So if we start doing that, so I place one in here and it gets a little symbol. If I hit play, it makes a kick drum sound. So what's happening and what we've created is a kind of physical sequencer where for each different bricks, different colors represent different instruments, and the different position is a different place in the beat. So you can see it scanning across. So left of the screen is beat 1, right of the screen is beat 8, and it loops round. And if you place, and it does it, it gives you the feedback in real time, which is what's really neat about this. So if I leave it running and I start to put some bricks in, yellow there, that's there, the hi-hats. Very quickly, I'm able to actually build a beat in real time just using these little Lego bricks. They're standard Lego bricks. You have to use the, you know, we've focused on the primary color, you know, red, yellow, blue, and it's set to do those. We're looking to add more shapes and colors and sizes of brick. And the left to right position on the screen is its sort of rhythmic position in the beat. And then for things that have a pitch, like this little keyboard one, the blue ones, low is a low note, and further away from the camera. In fact, I take some of these out so you can see this in more detail. So I can do rhythmic things and I can do pitch things. So if I do a high and a low like that, if we can get there to see the middle one, I can that for some reason. And then so I can do different notes as well. So it's tuned, so I can choose a scale. So we're in major notes. I can go to F sharp major, change there. I can change that to minor. We'll go back to C. So it's very, very sort of simple to get into and start using, and there's a bunch of fun things we can do with it. So let's get some more kind of drum elements in there to get a little bit of a beat going. Now, I don't have to be too precious. I can click the bricks into the bass plate. And so I've got a little beat going, and now I can change the tempo of that if I want. I can go make it a bit faster. And then I can maybe add some bass in here. So that's the kind of core functionality, is to be able to build beats and loops in real time. Some other fun things that we've built in as we've sort of been testing it. So we can have our loop running. If I touch the little hand icon in the top right here, that holds my pattern. So that means that I can take the bricks away now, and I'll keep the loop I had running. And I can start building something else without interfering with that. switch over to the new. So that's a way of kind of extending the sequence, building in different parts, starting to do little bits with live performance. I can change the sounds. So if I go to the left here where you see the sort of Lego S, I can change that. And we've got some built-in sound packs that are sort of based on quite general styles. So we've got synthwave, we've got hip hop. Let's try that one. Pop, click there. And we can do all this. Well, let's leave a little something running so we can listen to these. Although I know that with Teams it can get a bit noisy. So let's get a little. Try some different sounds. And then within each sound pack, I can actually go in further into these, so I can change sounds on the bricks here. So we can go for a trumpet. Should be able to. Piano. Oh, slightly behind here. There we go. So there's flexibility within the sound packs as well as changing them globally. So that's the kind of core app. You can also record your loop in the app as a video and share that. And then the other cool thing that we can do is it also works with Ableton Link. So the button on the top left. So here I can touch that, pop up a menu, enable Ableton Link, and then it will show different devices on the system. So if we had, say, 3 or 4 iPads on the same Wi-Fi network, then or with the app, then we could link them together, and then one student could just do the bass line on their screen, one student could do drums, one student could go keys, or they could mix them all up together. They could be playing different sound packs the same, but with the Ableton Link functionality, it syncs them all. So when you press play or when you join that session, they'll all loop in time. So you can actually create a kind of band setup, which is really cool. And then there's also just general kind of MIDI, virtual MIDI out, where you can send controls and MIDI into GarageBand or Logic and expand the sound sets that way, and sort of enable you to play with, you know, orchestral sounds and, you know, a wider range of drum sounds and these kind of things. So that's, you know, in a nutshell, that's Beatblocks, the app. It also, very quickly, so like I say, you don't have to lock them in, but also it will also work with duplo, which is quite nice as well to know, and also for younger users or physically maybe less able. So it will recognize duplo blocks as well when it's behaving. There we go. There we go. And another cool thing, you know, you can actually also just, you can hold the device, and obviously then as I move it, I'm kind of remixing the beat. Because it's changing the position on the screen. And that's another kind of fun thing to do by holding devices, moving around. We've got a whole bunch of stuff here. And I'll stop there for now, because what you saw there are some Lego Braille bricks, which is something I'd like to show you in a couple of minutes, but I think maybe it'd be good to pause there and see if there are any questions about the core kind of music app with Beatblocks.
So far in the chat, somebody actually just asked there if it worked with the Lego Braille bricks.
Okay, well, so it can see so it works in terms of the music side. It works better with standard bricks, but on the Braille bricks side, we actually have programmed a Braille brick. We've created a new Braille bricks app, which we're in the process of developing, and we're looking for people to help us test and develop it further. And we've trained it to recognize and read Braille, and to also work with the Braille as the music source. So, you know, for teaching music using Braille, so it will recognize the D, E, F, G, A, you know, the do, re, mi, fa, sol, bricks, or the standard A, B, C, D, E, F, G bricks, which I can show you in a second. But I just wonder if there are any questions about the main music app.
Feel free to pop any questions in.
Or take your mic off. I'm happy
or
to,
unmute. Yeah.
Or just unmute.
You did mention, didn't you, that you can record your creations,
So
Ben, because
you can
obviously
record
we're all
it.
about evidence of learning.
So in terms of recording, we can do very quickly. So you could either obviously record in GarageBand or something like that if you were sending out to that. But if we had a little loop going here, so I quite like that. Then beside the play button here is a little button that says record screen, and then it goes 3, 2, 1. That then saves a video with the sound and the actual loop that I've recorded and position I've made, and saves that into the files system on the device. So it's very quickly you're able to record and share, the loop or the little creation that you've done.
Brilliant. Somebody's just asking there, does it work with coloured paper or objects, or is it just coloured bricks?
Works with Skittles. It will. So it is color driven, but it is looking for the bricks. But it'll also, it's essentially working to do it's making its best efforts with what it has at the time. So it will work with post-it notes trimmed to. It will work with post-it notes. It will work if you color in some pieces of paper or color with a pen on a piece of paper. That can also work. It's better with three-dimensional objects or an object on top of something. So post-it notes scattered around, it works quite well. It's worth kind of trying some things that you might have that have those colors. So it's red, green, blue, yellow, orange. There's a pink and then a slightly other kind of blue color. There is actually in the app, wait, not there, down at the bottom right here, where it says help, there's a key that says what colors are what. So there, it can do this variants on a kind of lime green and a gray and a pink. Green is hi-hat, yellow is snare, orange is bass, and you've got a couple of blues for a lead instrument, which is your piano or your guitar or other kind of melodic instrument, and a couple of reds for kick.
Brilliant.
But I'd be really interested if people can, if I've done it with fruit. It works quite well. It's just kind of fun, but I just did it with whole bits of fruit, like some strawberries and blueberries and kiwi and a lemon, and that worked quite well. I think it would work better if I'd cut it up into smaller sections. So it was quite hard to get the larger bits of fruit in the camera shot. But again, if you're using like a mount system where you could see a big piece of a table, you could have loads of bits and pieces in there. You could have seen when I kind of scanned across the whole table here, if there are lots of things there and it can see them, it will do its best to kind of scan them and fit them all together.
Yeah,
it can get quite busy, so that's why we have a kind of just a certain kind of distance, a piece of table that you can see reasonably clearly. Go, I'm going to work in here. And the Lego boards, I mean, it does work with the for the other students. It does. I've got with these big duplo boards as well, which are great. Other things that we've seen people doing, let us know, is like pre-composing. So you have someone building a pattern on a board, separately, and then swapping it in to the view. So you can actually have several students, working on something, and then you can have one device and swap them in and out. Or again, if you've got multiple devices, you can sync them with Ableton. So yeah, it's really looking forward to getting more feedback from teachers. And so far, it's been very positive. We're looking to expand, like say, the export functions and the kind of recording out in terms of being able to record the MIDI and share it without necessarily having to go to another device, another program.
Somebody's just asking there, Ben, about the plate that you're building on. If it's coloured, would that affect the sound?
No, what it'll if it's cut, it kind of depends on the color. What you're looking for is contrast between the bricks and the base plate. White or gray is best. You don't need it. Like I say, it will work on a table or just a normal kind of wooden table surface. It will work with certain colored base plates, but if it's a big red base plate and you're placing red bricks on the base plate, then it's going to have problems detecting the red bricks on the red base plate.
Sure.
So again, it's worth trying with what you have to hand. One of the things that motivated us to develop this app when we did in COVID is that as parents ourselves as well and involved in education, we wanted to, we love building new things, and we've created various products over the years, which is fantastic and a lot of fun to do. But then, having to buy more stuff essentially is what we were wanting to avoid with this. So I've got loads of Lego at home from the kids, and yes, the models get built, and yes, it's fun, and I'd like to say we try and do the creative building and just doing it from scratch, and we do sometimes, but a lot of the time it just sits there in a big pile. And it was like, well, what's a fun thing we can do with stuff that people have at home? People have got smart devices. There's a lot of them. They can do a whole lot, and a lot of people have got Lego. Not everyone, but it's the most popular toy in the world. So we thought, there's a fair amount of it about. So we wanted to do something that didn't involve buying more stuff in terms of physically having to get more things. And in that sense, it's worth seeing what you've got in the classroom, or will it work? I've used plasticine in the past. That works. Colored plasticine works quite nicely. And then there's a whole activity of making the blocks, which is kind of fun, depending on your students, and what their sort of attention and stuff is. If there are no, it's available now, support school purchasing and all that kind of stuff. But if there's any questions, please get in touch and drop us a line, and we can answer that. Have I got time to show you guys the Braille app quickly?
Yeah, really quickly, because I'm sure people would like to see it too. I was just going to, while you're getting that set up, I was just going to say that when I trialed it out, I just did it on the tabletop. But what I found was the learner I was working with accidentally kept moving the bricks, so having it on the base plate would kind of overcome that. But I'm just thinking now, plasticine or Play-Doh, and it would stay in the place. That would,
as well, which is nice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So this is the Braille Bricks app, which is, in a nutshell, very similar but it's trained to actually it's reading it's recognizing the bricks and it's reading the Braille. So I'm going to very quickly see if we can demonstrate this. So
capital R.
So it recognizes letters, and then if I put the letters together,
RU,
and then it should start to create words.
Run.
There we go. Which I think it's really pretty cool. It's really exciting. See if we can get with some other ones. So it's reading the Braille. So we've got there. What have we got there?
Rain.
Rain. It's it'll read one word in a go, or you can set them out into letters. It only, at the moment, we've only trained it with 19 letters, kind of the first half of the alphabet or so, and a few extras. And what we're looking for on that side, on the left side, is, so there's a lot of the early kind of Braille familiarization and kind of learning the letters and stuff activities that would be, I think, really fun to support with an app like this. But the thing that we're also interested in is it in music mode. So in terms of facilitating Braille music teaching. So if we do the standard, where's an A? I've lost my A. There it is. So we do it like this. Standard, there we go. So A, B, C, and hit play. We put the looping on. If I change the spacing, changes the rhythm. or it can do more traditional Braille notation in solfege. So the do, re, mi, fa, so do, re, e, f, g. There we go. Similar. So it will detect those as well and be able to play them back. So what we're ideally looking for is some teachers who will be able to maybe engage with us, download the prototype app on TestFlight, and start exploring some different ideas of what functions we build in now. Is it more of a compositional app where we want to be able to do several lines of composition of melody? Importantly, we can also, in terms of modifiers, it will, that in Braille music teaching, there are quite a lot of modifiers which we can train it to recognize. That's obviously an important point. But also for literacy stuff, obviously there's also numeracy very quickly. So then on the Braille side, we've got E there, but if I put the number modifier brick next to it, then hopefully
5.
It recognizes that that's a number. And then if I put another number beside it, hopefully we'll get a
57.
There we go. So we've got the basic functionality built in. There's a lot of work for us to do in terms of working out. So this prototype app is set up to work with screen readers, etc., for visually impaired. But in terms of the setup, that's something we're working on in terms of using the haptic feedback in the device to be able to show the user when they maybe have a board or where they have a space to define the space that they're placing the bricks in. There's all kinds of things like that we're working on and we're aware that we need to develop. But what we're keen to understand is what functions would be useful for teachers who are working with Braille bricks, and what would you like to be able to do with an app like this? That's the big question.
Have you shared this with our colleagues at the Sensory Centre?
Yes, we did a webinar for the SSC a few weeks ago, and I had a great response there. And we're working with some of the teachers who came to that. I think there's an interesting, one of the teachers we're speaking to, there's an interesting crossover between using the kind of Braille bricks and looking at teaching chords and polyphony and things, and being able to have the same resources for the sighted and the visually impaired students, and having that kind of real inclusion, and with the Braille bricks bringing the same kind of level of kind of a physical teaching aid for the sighted students, as well in the same way as it's doing for the visually impaired students, which a physical way of describing and playing with chord structure or melody and this kind of stuff. And so there's an interesting crossover there, I think, that we're keen to explore.
Yeah, definitely. Has anyone got any other questions for Ben before we finish off today? Everyone's going to be downloading and away playing with Lego tonight. I know one of my old colleagues is on the call tonight, and I know that's definitely what she's going to be doing.
Well, yes, happy for you guys to reach out to us directly. I'll share some links after this. We'll share a link to the Braille app project where there's a sign-up form to sign up for our test flight. If you've got any questions about BeatBlock Studio, please get in touch with us at ben@playable.tech or info@playable.tech, or if you just Google us, playable.tech, you'll get our website and all our contact details are there. And we're here to help, keen for people to play with it, start making things, building bits and pieces, and ideally sharing their creations with us so that we can share them elsewhere. But just here to help. And thanks so much for giving us a chance to share this with the community.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon, Ben. Thanks everyone to join us live and those that are catching up later on. We're back after the Easter break, so have a lovely relaxing break for all the educators on here. We're back on the 30th of April with Rachel Taylor from No Isolation. So thanks everyone and have a great evening.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.